internet use can positively enhance the quality of education. Out of this topic, we can find 3 main points. Point 1, internet use. Point 2, can positively enhance. And point 3, the quality of education. I shall be looking at points 1 and 2, while my colleagues shall look at point 2 and point 3. Before I go any further, let us first understand the purpose of the internet. The internet is a tool to monitor, to measure, and to facilitate our communications virtually. We now understand the purpose of the internet, but what the questions really should be are, what is the use of the internet, and how is it used? If we take the definition from ask.com, the uses of the internet can include sending and receiving emails, video conferencing, online chatting, and transferring and receiving various files and documents. What is this saying to us? It is telling us the internet is a host or portal of virtual information. It is also telling us that the internet is the transportation and storing of such information. This is telling us the internet is becoming a medium for paperless trails. And if we go further, using the definition from beforeitisnews.com, internet places us on the forefront of information handling before it is too late. However, this tells us only a little on this topic, but we'll go further. Nevertheless, it has provided us with a wealth of information on understanding internet use. This now brings us to point 2. We are not only going to look at positively enhanced, but we will look at how the internet has positively enhanced. Now we are all familiar with the mailing system, and we are all too familiar with the school book system. And we are more familiar with the disadvantages that these two systems present to us in the development of our own education. The mailing system is slow, and the school books can tend to be cumbersome and in the way. Beforeitisnews.com tells us, and I quote, "Since the internet has come into life, everything is available just a click away. You just have to search for the concerned topic, and you'll get hundreds of references that may be beneficial to your research." End quote. This eliminates such systems mentioned before, such as cumbersome books and delays in the mail. Further to this, websites such as Wolfram Alpha, which is considered to be more than just a search engine, actually provides access to world facts, data, and calculates answers upon demand in real time. In other words, the internet, through its convenience, has provided the base foundations for the enhancement of all learning faculties. However, let us take into account what is going on around the world. We can be privy to this only in a timely manner through the internet. As a result, we see more humanitarian efforts because of the information now reaching people all across the world who had the means to help but did not know where or how to contribute. This is just one example of how many people around the world have benefited from internet use, thus justifying the enhancement. Now, if we take this facility and replace humanitarian efforts with education development, we can see the cross efforts that not only enhance the quality of education, but provide the basis for education development. With this, Madam Chair, I conclude, and my colleagues will take you deeper into these subjects. I, however, encourage you, Madam Chair, to remember what I said earlier, the purpose of the internet is a tool to monitor, to measure, to facilitate our communications virtually. This has resulted in the positive enhancement of our vocabulary and thus the quality of our educations. Thank you.
Madam Moderator, judges, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, good afternoon. Oh, and worthy opponents, good afternoon. We, the opposition, vehemently believe that the internet cannot, as said in the moot, which has some redundancy, positively enhance the quality of education. It simply cannot. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, quality is how good or bad something is, or is a high level of value or excellence, and integrity is the quality of being honest and fair, or the state of being complete or whole. Education is defined as not only the acquisition of knowledge, but being able to apply it through critical thinking and creativity to further society and to become a functioning civic-minded citizen. Yes, the internet facilitates the easy delivery of education, but we, the opposition, are focusing on the end product, which is a really fantastic, well-rounded student who is endowed with social qualities and not just fantastic plagiarists and internet-reliant dummies. We want students to not feel like they're in the desert without water when they have assignments and no Wi-Fi. Which brings me to my first point, the negative impact internet has on the integrity or quality of education. We want them to grab their textbooks, which have been tested and proven for efficiency, and not grab the tablet or laptop to see what Mr. Google can give. I mean, come on, how many times have we been told and have heard that things like Wikipedia are certainly unreliable? I, Aliyah Reed, a little Barbadian girl with no certification in anything neuroscience, for example, can go edit a page dealing with neuroscience on Wikipedia. Utter nonsense. Then a person who is seeking to acquire knowledge in such fields is unfortunate, thinking that the internet is the messiah of education, will go and read the nonsense I would have uploaded or given my edited version of and be completely fooled, thinking that such information is actually factual. How can we build or enhance education based on an unreliable foundation? This brings me to my second point. We, the opposition, are in no way crying down internet use, but we need to be cognizant that with use comes its two little friends, misuse and abuse, who are totally responsible for the decline in the quality of education. As William Lynch pointed out, the internet has proven to be a double-edged sword for education. Teachers and students benefit from the unprecedented access to information the internet provides, as well as from the ability to share knowledge across the globe. However, the reliance on internet has many negative effects. Now, I know many foreign language students know of Google Translate, if not all. I, a lover of French myself, have heard of it amongst friends and from screaming teachers. But what always kept me from using it is the fact that so many times during essay corrections in French class, Madame would have to quarrel with particular students and the majority of the class for typing their whole essay into Google Translate, which in turn produced utter garbage. And the thing is, they didn't fool her, she could tell. Not that she was peeping through the window last night to see them using Translate and just got upset because she felt that her notes given weren't appreciated. It's not that at all. She always stressed the fact that Google Translate translates word for word, and in French, and probably in other languages, there are set phrases. Some fellow students oftentimes lost so many marks because they leave the numerous notes and handouts given by the qualified teacher to trust a quite unreliable source. And all because of what? They figure once it's on the internet, it's correct. I'm still trying to see how trusting Google Translate, in this case, improved the quality, positively enhanced those French students' knowledge or grades, which determines their level of education. And it's not because I'm the opposition. I mean, think about it. Does poor grades and tainted knowledge speak quality? Judges, opponents, audience, in any case? No. I didn't think so either. So teachers, when giving out projects and assignments, please continue to repeat your mantra. Wikipedia is not a credible source of information, and neither is Google Translate. let's move on. Now, they say the internet saves time and resources, and that's why we can now achieve degrees online. Oh, how fantastic. I don't have to hand in tangible paperwork to a professor, and I'm so glad that my parents don't have to pay for that mortgage, the tuition, for the prices of an online degree are way lower. But I have some issues. I'm really shaky when it comes to Spanish, and that's a major component in the degree I would like to acquire. Oh, I forgot Auntie Rhonda, who studied in Colombia and who fluently speaks Spanish. She can just do that component for me. Muchas gracias, tia Rhonda. Now, as the song says, let's just be honest and let's just be real. In this case, would I really get a true education? Would I really have worked so hard to earn my degree? Would I be able to apply it through critical thinking and creativity to further society and become a civic-minded citizen? No. Auntie Rhonda would have done that for me, just like she would have done my entire Spanish component for me. So in that case, I would not have gained my true education. What I would have done would be to misuse and abuse the internet. And Tia Rhonda, to destroy the quality of my online degree. Well, now I know not to get an online degree, for it would definitely amp up my laziness, make me spend more time thinking how to cheat, and in turn, I won't achieve my true education. But for now, I'll just focus on my CXCs and in the very near future, CAPE. I just have to study really hard and keep the faith, as we should always. But today, I have to grip as tightly as possible, hoping that at 2 a.m., when my e-marker logs on to grade, she doesn't just roll over, turn on the lamp, and start grading. And I would certainly hope that her spouse didn't tick her off that night when she's on my paper, or anyone else's for that matter. But that's if Miss Doe is even the one grading the paper. What if she's extremely tired, hands Mr. Doe the device and says to him, correct these A's, just math paper 2. You get a 3 and 90, right? I get in my bed. What would my CV say about my quality of education when it looks like Brian Lara's records, not 4s and 6s? Not a lot, thanks to the Doe family. I give this example to make a point. Who is really grading the papers? So our little friends, Miss and Ab, are causing our students not to be critical thinkers, but to be critical and extreme frauds. So okay, proposition, you have it. Until the internet use being the blocks, the steel, and the cohesive cement in the building of education to have a finished product of a strong student, yeah, it works. We will have Barbados recognized as the island who produces the greatest frauds or zombies in the world. Just an awful lot of earheads. Anyone hungry? Madam Moderator, I thank you.
Now, if we take this facility and replace humanitarian efforts with educational development, we can see the cross-effort that not only enhances the quality of education, but provides a long-term basis for educational development. My colleague made mention of the collection and giving out of information in real time. She made mention of humanitarian efforts being made easier via the internet. In September, there was a flood in Dominica. There were a lot of activities and fundraisers going on in our island to help the people in Dominica. Tell me this, if you hadn't heard this on the internet, on the news, how would you have known this? There's my point. The internet informed us and raised awareness of this problem, encouraging us to help fix it. We, as people, better yet, as a community, have come together to help, thus making us better human beings. This has been facilitated through the use of internet. This positive outreach has been made possible through internet use. This is merely a short campaign on how internet use has positively enhanced our knowledge of world issues and how internet use has positively enhanced the foundation of the quality of education. My colleague also made mention of the mailing system. Are you aware that whether it rains or not, you will still get your messages via the internet? Similarly, rain or bad weather has no interruption on the research progress via the internet. This is one aspect of the quality of education being enhanced by internet use. Another aspect is acronyms and abbreviations. Almost every form teacher from Junior 1 to Form 5 says that they only teach any form of abbreviations in letters. When communicating via the internet, it provides a rich opportunity for practicing both acronyms and abbreviations. For example, PPL, people, or MR, Mr., or UWI, the University of the West Indies. The parliamentary secretary recently, in an interview, stressed that the internet has thus far enhanced the quality of education in Barbadian schools. He stated that the Ministry of Education will be revising its cell phone policy in schools so that the internet can be easily integrated in schools for the enhancement of the quality of education. Now, this means that online textbooks will be easily accessed in the enhancement of the learning process. Madam Chair, internet use connects students to the global classroom. This world is quickly becoming a global community, yet schools and universities around the world are still confining their students to their own small peer groups. Internet use allows students to connect with other learners regardless of geographical restriction, thus bringing the global community into the classroom. And with this perfect example of how internet use can positively enhance the quality of education, Madam Chair, I conclude.
Madam Moderator, proposition. As said by my leader, where there is use, there is misuse and abuse, as the internet is no different, and the scales on which this matter weighs are of high complexity. The moot suggests that internet use can positively enhance the quality of education. But what is quality? Quality is how good or bad something is, or a high level of value or excellence. How can you be certain of the quality of a source garnered from the internet when the integrity remains questionable? Integrity is the quality of being honest and fair, or the state of being complete or whole. From these definitions, it is crystal clear that equality is tied to integrity. If the quality is horrendous, then integrity is also horrendous. Or, if the quality is excellent, but the integrity questionable, then I fail to see any logical difference in these two situations. The main purpose of a quality education is to provide its recipients with inquiring and creative minds, critical thinking abilities, and the development of positive attitudes, values, and beliefs. An intelligent young man once said, and I quote, "The function of education is to teach one intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the true goal of education." Martin Luther King Jr., the Ministry of Education, Youth Affairs and Culture, in July 2001, published the National Report on the Development of Education in Barbados, where it outlined the objectives of current and forthcoming reform, stating that third was to enforce the concept that learning is a lifelong, continuous process, and fourth, developing a workforce that is equipped to adapt to a readily changing environment and is readily retrainable. Both of these examples obviously have one thing in common. That is that critical thinking is one of the main products of a quality education. But how can this be achieved when there is substantial evidence that internet use not only perverts critical thinking, but also grammar and speech? There was an article in the August 8, 2015 Saturday Sun entitled "Social Media, Cause of Poor Spelling," which attributed social media to be the source of students shortening words in their SPAs. I read, I have found in correcting office administration SPAs that there's no longer the need to spell the words, so B has become the letter B, thank you has become thank you, and you is now you. This speaks to the major deterioration of our English language and is rapidly becoming a collection of phonetically formed phrases and letters. How can one hope to understand the analysis and evaluation associated with critical thinking when one does not even understand the language it is spoken or written in? Simply ignorance. Plagiarism is also running rampant in our society. The internet does not afford us the opportunity to think for ourselves, but instead thinks for us. A student with a conundrum could easily type it into Google, search through the results until they find a preferred link, click it, and copy out all the information exactly the way they found it. How does this help to enforce the concept that education is a continuous lifelong process when students from the time they are young only copy others' ways as they cannot properly formulate their own thoughts, ideas, or behaviors which will negatively affect them in their future life? This only educates them in plagiarism, its application, and nothing else. This process of mimicry thinking has no place in a workforce in the modern society such as ours, which should be full of self-sufficient, critically thinking, not workers, not full of mindless zombies eagerly awaiting instruction. Mahatma Gandhi once said, and I quote, "A man is but the product of his thoughts, what he thinks he becomes. If a man or woman, for that instance, cannot think for themselves, what do they become? Do they become nothing? Do they become entirely dependent? Or do they simply become hollow?" A quality education is meant to instill the academic and social values needed for an individual to properly function in society. If internet use degrades some of these aspects with being a well-rounded individual, does that not make it detrimental? While we do not reach the same fallacious conclusion as you, worthy opponents, internet use does more to harm the quality of education than to enhance it. So we, the opposition, resoundingly say no, 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 no to its use.
If school books are uninformed, cumbersome and in the way, but are more effective, and the internet's less than 100 pages, but are less effective, will you still advertise internet use as being a waste goal? If so, why?
It would be because books, which are cumbersome and in the way, take up more space, whereas the internet is virtual and takes up none whatsoever. You can just, even though it's 100 pages, what about your books, which are 200 pages?
The leader said positive enhancement of our vocabulary. I would like to please explain this when in this time our thank yous have become thank yous.
It has been proven that thank yous are actually easier to read off of a page than thank yous. So when you use thank you, you can find that you can read faster and more efficiently.
What about students who cannot afford devices to access the internet, which you deem very important in the facilitation of education?
I thoroughly believe that each school should be able to have a computer lab, and our government should supply one to each and every school, so that they can have readily access and availability to computers and Wi-Fi.
So then, should the government use taxpayer dollars, which already have so much uses?
They very well should, because it's enhancing their own children's education quality.
The leader, I know it was said that the internet is a tool, but what kind of tool? A tool that is used to abuse and misuse. So please explain this tool.
It's a tool because You can use it in whichever way you mean to use it. You can use it for good or for harmful uses. It's your own decision which way you want to use it, whether for plagiarism or for simple research.
Thank you.
If you were told to research a topic on which your textbook has only limited information, how will you do this? In fact, how did you research for this debate?
First part of the question, how would I do my assignment based on the research? How would I do my assignment if my textbook has limited research? The whole syllabus is normally formulated around what is based on the textbooks because they were created back in the early, in the 80s and whatnot, textbooks were made, and we didn't have much internet and whatnot, and people take Einstein, for example. He didn't have the internet and was like, he was a genius. And then the second part, how did I do my research for this debate? We went into our books, we went into the library, and we found not once in my speech, which you have heard me quote, a website, not once. Thank you.
You blame the internet for the deterioration of our language, but do you deny that people have been using improper English since before the introduction of the internet?
I didn't say that. The internet is responsible for the deterioration, and deterioration means it continues to come down. So if we have realized, and you were just going to go, if we have realized that the internet has, continue to help English deteriorate, and we have been using it and English has been deteriorating before, why should we still continue to use the internet if it keeps bringing it down?
My colleague mentioned that the internet can teach us to use abbreviations and acronyms. We use acronyms and abbreviations every day. There's DR, Doctor, or UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. Do you consider these negative?
No, I don't consider that negative. I think you are mistaken. That is the context in which you're using, I cannot find the thing, but UNICEF, it stands for something, as when you break down 10Q, somebody can mix that with 10-4, which means, okay, so I think it's a misconceptualization that you have, and I don't think that UNICEF basically loves you, and I don't think that those things are negative. I think it's actually smart because it's so long. Right now, UNFPA, United Nations Population Fund, and that's an appropriate abbreviation. As 10Q and YH and all those others, you're merely confusing others more you use them.
So I now invite the Alexandra School to do the exam for 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. Members of the proposition, judges, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, we, the opposition, stand firm in our belief that internet use, while it may facilitate easy delivery of education, it does not positively enhance the quality of education. We have proven to you that 1, it negatively impacts the integrity of education. Secondly, its mischievous counterparts, abuse and misuse, work feverishly to destroy the quality product which educators try to build. Lastly, but most crucial, internet use undermines the very basis of education reform, as pointed out by my seconder. It zaps the critical thinking ability which students need to become productive, independent citizens of the future. We have shown you why the proposition's argument is redundant and flawed. We are not negating the place of the internet in the education system, but we are saying that it is a two-edged sword which students and educators alike seem to idolize insidiously. It erodes the integrity and quality of education, and therefore cannot and will not fall victim to the belief that internet use can positively enhance the quality of education. Thank you.
Madam Chair, as we conclude, we would like to point out the main points in our three topics. Because the internet use is your own decision on whether you misuse or abuse it. Because there are more websites than just Wikipedia, which may have false information on it. We can find many more useful parts to the internet for communication, which is much faster than sending a letter to my friend in Canada and waiting weeks for it to come back to me. And can positively enhance. When we take into account what is going on around the world, how would we know what is going on in Dominica, other than if we missed the newspaper that day, or perhaps if we didn't see the news that evening? Internet has helped us with that. And when it comes to the quality of our educations, I find that our educations have been much more enhanced since the introduction of the internet. Because the global community uses, if we can contact the global classroom, our world, since it's becoming such a global community so quickly, and when we are still confined to our smaller peer groups, we are still kept together without internet use, which allows us to talk to other students regardless of language and geographic constraints. Thank you.
Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, debaters. I was saying to the Barbados Accreditation Council, it is not an easy job being a judge, but I think it's important that we share with you some of the things that we think you need to be aware that you do well, and make some recommendations on how you can improve your debating skills. We thought the debate was well structured and the approach was good. And I think that says a lot about the quality of our education system. I want you to remember that while you are debating, you are what is called a presenter. And therefore, you need to be aware of certain skills that you need to pay attention to. First of all, you have to control your nervousness. I wish I can explain to you that you have to find what mojo makes you calm. If it is the case that you need to go outside and do a walk-up or whatever, you go and do it so that, or you find something that keeps you constantly calm so that you don't lose it during your debate. I feel that nervousness is controlled by practice. If you practice more and more and become so in tune with what you are talking, you'll get rid of your nervousness. And then the second thing is then you do not show a lack of enthusiasm. I find you are approaching topics that was a good topic. It was one that you are so conversed with, but I was not seeing the enthusiasm in the delivery of your debate. We thought as well too that the limited use of notes always enhances your debates. When you read verbatim from your notes, we think that takes away from the quality of your debate, the interaction between the debating team. We didn't see a lot of that. Normally in debates, you hear people say, that does not make any sense, or that sort of, and we didn't see that, and it's because you're so attached to your notes. We encourage you, with the exception, of course, of Cody, which we did see an effort not to use notes. Excellent. And last but not least, we caution two things more. We caution about your body language, the way you stand up. kudos to you, St. Winifred. Excellent on that. Alexandra, you need to work more in the area of your body language, the way you present your speech. Remember, it's not just your voice. We're looking at the whole you. And last but not least, we're concerned about the language used. There were too many Bayesianisms in the debating system, and you need to be aware and be cognizant of this. Should be proper English and less Bayesianisms, less Bayesian dialect use. We understand that sometimes in our enthusiasm, we go into Bayesian dialect, but it does not mean we condone it. But other than that, I had a wonderful time. On reflection, I'm telling my Toastmasters group, we are debating this subject. I saw potential for using this at a more adult level because I could see we could get fist fights over this. So I thank you very much for being here. I enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed yourself as well in presenting it. And the handover now to the...
With 797 points, St. Winifred School, and with 821 points, the Alexandra School.